Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu iyaka nasta'in. Hadina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Sirat al-Dina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim wala dhalin. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah wa ashhadu anna Ali wali Allah. Ya Allah, send peace and blessings to Nabi Muhammad and his progeny, and send peace and blessings to Nabi Ibrahim and his progeny, and send peace and blessings to the Imam of our time and his household, and hasten his return. This is Global Missing Persons Interpol Yellow Notice number 21-22733. And I think today is September 20th, 2025. I'm not sure. I didn't check today, and I don't think I checked yesterday. But I'll tell you what I did check. Now, in that the video I uploaded last night about CIA, Macomb County Corporate Counsel, and KMG Prestige, Homeland Contracted Operative and FEMA role player who followed me to the market yesterday, the one who was sitting in front of the animal clinic, who I flipped the script on, and it was me stalking him. Started out him stalking me, with us watching him watching me, and we flipped the script, and it was me hot on his heels all the way down Van Dyke, with him paranoid and looking back. Anyways, that story's there. So, where I told you after he passed the Coney Island and the auto shop, which they're together, same people he's with, and then you cross the block, and there is it says clothing and fashion, but it's not operating. I think they're gonna be opening it sometime in the future. They're working on it, it looks like. Or it's another one of the empty cover front buildings that are everywhere, at least here in Michigan, all over Detroit, the same type, and all over Macomb County, Wayne County, the same unmarked buildings that are the ones that are getting caught up in these human trafficking investigations all over. Okay, well, they're all over the place, those unmarked buildings, and they often look like nobody's ever there, and they look like newly and updated. A lot of them, I mean, not all of them, and but like this building we're talking about does, and whether that's something like this or not, I don't know. Maybe it's something that's getting ready to open soon, but I don't ever see any activity. I don't ever see any kind of contractors there, or any kind of workers or builders or anything going inside and out. And you can't see in the windows. They have that tinted glaze over it, and it says something clothing and fashion. And there's like a little 2.5 foot brick wall around their parking lot. I mean, it's so short you can step over it, and that's what he did. And then I said he had went evidently to the alley and went around the back of the building, and then by the time I came around the corner, there he was sitting on the side of the building, which he didn't know I was coming. I guess that's what he was waiting to figure out waiting for me to be gone enough and make sure nobody was watching, so he doesn't bring any heat down on the auto shop people when he goes in there. So he was sitting right there on the side of that building. They have like a park bench sitting there and flower pots, and stuff like that. So that's where he was when I walked up and confronted him. So about 1:30 a.m. last night, I got up and got dressed, and I wanted to go get something to eat. And I walked up Van Dyke. I did that, got something to eat, and I walked past there. And I looked in that parking lot that he turned into. It's surrounded by like an 8-foot fence. There's no other way to get through there except to climb over that 8-foot chain link fence. And that's what he did in all his fear and paranoia, which I had not originally realized because I had never noticed the property was surrounded by a chain link fence. But it is. And he was that paranoid where that's the parking lot he ducked up into. And by the time I came around that corner, he would not have had time to walk the distance he would have had to walk to go around and come up the other side. So he was so paranoid, he hopped that 8-foot chain link fence, trying to duck and dodge me, and he thought he was hidden while he was just going to wait a few minutes to make sure nobody was watching, because probably I'm not by myself, just like he's probably not. And I'm just like these other dirt balls who then I follow them or watch them and watch them go right up, I watch them get right off the bus out and walk down 2 or 3 blocks, turn a corner, and right about in front of the second house or something, that's where they get in the car. That's where they open up the passenger door and get in the car. Okay, so I told you about that dirt ball loser up in front of the post office at the bus stop at Bush. I think it was a Saturday morning, and I was at that bus stop waiting for the bus. I was going down to Planet Fitness to take a shower, and there's this dirt ball, and I've seen him a few times, so I can't remember if this time if he was on a bike or if he was on foot. And so this dirt ball coming past, he looked like a real crackhead. White guy, black sweatpants, black hoodie, pasty pale white. He didn't even have any pink in his face. Like pasty pale white, dark circles under his eyes. He looked like a crackhead, and he looked malnourished. And he's like, what's up? He's like, I said I was waiting for the bus or whatever it was that I said. And he's like, oh, he said that he was actually trying to get up or he's stranded here. He's from up north, and he's been stranded here all night. And then he asked me, do I do anything? He's like, do you do anything? And of course I know what he meant, but just for fun, I'm like, what do you mean, do I do anything? Do anything like what? He's like, anything illegal or anything? I mean, like, really? Is that the best you could do? I mean, haven't you ever practiced this before? Haven't you ever ran this shit on somebody else? Maybe it was that gaze of mine that strips their power away. Like I was talking about, like the like that big fat Mo with the ice blue demon eyes who can't look me in my eyes. Okay, because when he speaks to me, or when I speak to him, which has really only been once, um, but it's just like, like I told you with that human trafficking Scientologist, Ali Mackey of Ali's Lebanese Grill, the Warren location on Van Dyke. Okay, he is another one. Okay, and they are intimidated and threatened by my gaze that they feel exposed under, and they can't look me in the eye, and so and they get really, really uncomfortable. That's how that Mike Mattia across the street is, the Homeland contracted operative with I'm not quite sure if it's Macomb County or Warren PD and or Centerline PD. There's a lot of psychological warfare around him, but he's way, way too intrusive, and he's way, way, way too nosy, and the whole, walking around with the Bible in his hand everywhere he goes. Play him Mr. Righteous. No, he's not. Not at all. Anyways, that's another one who can't look me in the eye, and he can only tolerate to even be in my frequency range for like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's even when and if he initiates the contact, and that's when he starts getting all like fidgety and like irritated, uncomfortable, fidgety, and all of a sudden, okay, all right, I gotta go. One of those. So, and the truth is, I usually don't initiate contact, and I don't see him very much because I don't want to see him. That's the reason I don't see him very much, because I usually, anywhere he is, I try not to be, and which really is the case with most people, and that's just because I don't like to be around people in general. Never really have. And but no, with him, he's one of those people where I really, really, really try to be anywhere that he is not. People like that you can't trust. I don't trust any of these people anyways. And so the satellite terrorism continues. Okay, they are my right hand is extremely disabled, as I demonstrated with that 3-pound jar of magnesium flakes that I cannot even hardly lift off the floor. And if I wasn't demonstrating, I wouldn't have put myself through the pain that it is to lift that far off the floor anyways. It's excruciatingly painful. Well, that continues, and they are specifically targeting my thumb, from the middle joint all the way down to the knuckle joint, and it is inflamed. It's big. It's bigger than the other thumb now, and my joint feels like it's out of joint. Things are moving around in there. I feel things moving that shouldn't be moving when I have to use it, and it's painful and it hurts. And they do it all night long when I sleep. And I have been so exhausted all day. and it wasn't even, I've been up all day, and, but, it's been all, I just now got up, like, right before it got dark, like, washed up, like I normally would do, to start the day. Well, my day didn't start until, like, just before dark, and, I couldn't sleep all night because, I could sleep. The problem isn't me. And I would sleep. And every time I would go to sleep, I would be woke up with an excruciating, pierceful, painful piercing right through my hand, right through the bottom of my thumb and the joint. At the same time, all day long today, they have been shooting my pelvic area, and it's like the skin tissue, like they're piercing through the layers of the skin tissue, from the outside in, and it's painful, and they're doing the same thing to the back of my left thigh. The ear, they're shooting my ears, both left and right, off and on. My head, they keep shooting me in the left eye socket, and it's gonna cost us. I am so exhausted. I mean, I really can't even think of anything. I can't think of anything to say, and it's an effort to even talk. And there's no reason why I should be exhausted, and there's no reason why I shouldn't have had a good night's sleep, because I don't have sleep problems. And then even all day today, one of the reasons I never really got up and got dressed until right before dark was for no other reason than because I needed a couple more hours sleep to make up for all the sleep lost during torture sessions all night long. And I couldn't sleep because, same thing. This is 24/7. And then every time I want to use my phone, okay, that's a whole nother psyop that's going to cost every American more than they can afford to pay with tax and interest. Okay, these are the reasons I have spent the last, let me see, when I brought everybody here in 2020, everybody meaning the two world courts, United Nations, 39 nations, the global media on all 7 continents. When I brought everybody here, okay, it's just like I had said, I had already spent almost 10 years setting up a devastating global domino effect that will fall until the day of judgment. And okay, and a lot of these dumb Americans, you, the people listening, you laughed, okay? I vowed and I promised international and global sanctions and boycotts against America, and you people laughed. The day I stood as a state of my own, as a sovereign state of my own, and I declared open war against the United States State Department before everybody that was here that day. That was on August 16th, 2020. Okay? And they laughed. Everybody laughed at me. So, okay. All right, well, look what's happened, okay? You see that global domino effect taking effect that I was talking about? Okay, well, that's what's happening. And you people thought it was real funny. And you paid spies, you contracted TI, targeted individual and gang stalking role players on Facebook. Um, for those who don't know, targeted individual and gang stalking, that's the CIA, Department of Defense, FBI, Homeland Security, but it's a Department of Defense program, Department of Defense, and the Navy. CIA operated cult of Scientology's Operation Freakout. Now, for everybody around the world that does not know, particularly foreign global world leaders like President Putin, who outlawed Scientology in Russia as a terrorist organization that it is. Scientology is the United States Navy, and it's operated by the CIA. And that is who, what is that guy's name, the founder? L. Ron Hubbard. Okay, that's who he was. He was CIA, U.S. Navy. Okay, and he's just like what Mark Zuckerberg is to Facebook, the poster boy image of the operation. Okay, that is really, really a whole lot much bigger than him. Okay, so that's what Scientology is, and most people that have heard or know anything about Scientology only think about the Church of Scientology and Hollywood celebrities and things like that. However, that is just one small part. Scientology, just like Freemasons or any other other mystery schools and secret society, it is a secret society. And the Church of Scientology is just only that's what it is, the Church of Scientology within a big, huge secret society that is American society. That's what technocracy is. Those are all Scientologists, okay? Elon Musk and all that. The technocrats, transhumanism. That's all Scientology. The CIA's not natural health movement. That's Scientology, okay? They own all these healthcare operations in America. The hospital's Ascension. That's who Ascensions is. Ascensions is CIA operated cult of Scientology human trafficking organization. Human and organ trafficking. That's what Ascensions is. And so that's who Scientology is and what it really is, and it's very highly secretive, and it is a snitching culture, and it is a highly, highly paranoid kidnapping culture, murdering culture, trafficking culture, and there's a link. I will put it on the Facebook whenever soon. I don't know when. I'm really, really tired, and the last thing I want to do is look at Facebook. But they just busted a huge religious human trafficking operation here in Michigan. Well, and it actually involved several states, Michigan and Florida being two of them. Their operation ran through numerous states. I don't remember how many, 3 or 4 for sure, in Michigan and Florida being 2 of those. And it's just like what I've been telling you people out there. It's like the people who are locked up in facilities, and that is where they live and they work, and they, it's okay. That's what this is, and that's how Scientology is. And if you don't know, like 70% of America's churches are under the cult of Scientology. I mean, it's the Methodists and the Unitarians and the Christian Scientists, okay, and then Nation of Islam, okay. Nation of Islam would not to be confused with what Islam really is and who Muslims really are, because it is everything that Islam is not, and they are everything that Muslims are not. And it's a black national hate group is what it is, that believes that it's an idol worshiping black national hate group, and they worship a man named Master Fard Muhammad, and who they worship as God reincarnated in the flesh, right here to Detroit, Michigan, where he started the Nation of Islam as the black national hate organization that it is, and I think it was the 1930s. So, okay, they are now unified with Scientology. Okay, these businesses, these organizations, everything. They own everything, and that's how a lot of people ended up getting involved in this. Like, for example, people who are the CIA or contracted operatives of Homeland Security and or CIA, but they've never been in the military or the federal government otherwise. Okay, they get contracted through Scientology because of their job or their business or whatever. And if you, and a lot of most of you, if not all of you listening to this, which is those of you who are in somehow directly or indirectly involved in this, you already know this. But for the general public who doesn't, well, that's for no other reason than because they're not supposed to know. But point being, I did this to you people, and I spent years doing it, okay? I started trying to call the FBI in 2013 to report crimes that I had knowledge and information of, very serious crimes, okay? Muslims in Karachi, Pakistan, approaching me and asking me to submit fraudulent Pakistani and Iranian documents to Department of Homeland Security for purposes of unlawful immigration. So, and at the same time, they wanted me to connect them with English-speaking North American Islamic organizations that would fund and sponsor them. So, because they wanted to establish an Islamic organization here, a foundation here in the United States of America, just that distributes free Qurans. Okay, and there was more to it, but anyways, it turns out, no, these weren't Muslims in Karachi, Pakistan. It was Department of Defense, CIA, Department of Defense, FBI. Ask Angela Bronson. She knows. Okay, Angela Bronson set me up with the FBI Oakland County sheriffs to be kidnapped, in which I was never supposed to come out to see the light of day again, in retaliation for trying to report these crimes that I had knowledge and information of, myself and Rebecca Brown of Baytown, Texas, who fast forward all these years later, wants to pretend like she doesn't know nothing about it because she got a contract too. Yes, she does. She was right there with me. She was right involved with me, and she knew everything and why so anyways, fast forward, that was about a whole year and a half, 2 year thing before I finally realized, okay, I gotta stop calling the cops. And I mean, if it wasn't for Interpol, Vatican, CIA, U.S. Navy for the Vatican, bringing Interpol Vatican here, and Interpol Vatican Air Show Edward going and getting Debbie Monroe, who was one of the people that signed the contract on me, and forcing her and another inside agent to go and get me out through locked and alarmed doors with a set of keys and into a getaway car where we had to hightail it for our life. Okay, I would not be here right now. And then fast forward to 2018, the Hillary Pfizer operation, okay? And let me tell you people something, okay? I called the Oakland County Sheriff's. Well, there was an explosive in the apartment. The smell of formaldehyde, military grade formaldehyde, was so bad. Both me and Carol Wabridge had chemical headaches, and they had taken all my electrical cords and candles and stuff like this, and they had said, Tony Schwartz, CIA, Department of Defense, he's also with the entertainment industry, Cave Radio in Redford, Michigan, okay, and he's a Scientologist, okay, and then they had a sticky explosive under my sink. Well, I didn't call him for my safety. I didn't call Oakland County Sheriff's because I needed help. I called just like I told him, because there's an explosive and there's 9 other apartments in this building, including Carol Wallbridge, the elderly lady next door, who said she's packing up and getting the hell out of here and going to her mom's. And from what I understand, that's what she did. And I just waited for the building to blow up, and didn't really care one way or the other. And apparently Tony Schwartz sat out in the parking lot of Northridge of Rochester Hills, a Sing development, and trying to remotely activate an explosive that had already been deactivated by me 3 times. And while my DARPA detail watched him sit there like an idiot trying to remotely detonate this explosive that wasn't even there anymore. So, and then let me see, then I that's when I made 4 calls to the FBI, and here's what they do. As soon as I say my name, they put my name in the computer, and then they laugh at me, and they gaslight me, and they hang up. So, okay, I called 4 times. Then I called the United States Secret Service 4 times, and I left 4 long, detailed, recorded voice messages. Okay, and then, numerous times Oakland County Sheriff's, and that's how I met my friend Gary McClure from the Oakland County Sheriff's, who's a very, very rare rare person. He's a decent person, and he's a good person, and he's a very rare person. You don't meet very many people like him in your lifetime. And Deputy Rice, and then there was Schwartz. He was there. Milky, okay, Milky got so scared he put my name in the computer and he looked my name up. Okay, he was sitting in the parking lot. Because listen to this. It was in December, and it happened to just be a really warm day, warm, sunny day, okay? Like, really warm and sunny in the middle, I think. Yeah, it was December. It was December, I think, December 18th. So, like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm walking around the property that I live on and did live on for, like, nearly a whole 20 years. And, they called the cops, the role players, and the operatives, called the Oakland County Sheriffs and reported me as looking suspicious and looking in people's windows and stuff. So it was Deputy Sheriff Milky that showed up. And I was in the parking lot, like right behind my own unit, you know, in my own backyard where my own flower garden is. And so then I told him what was really going on. And he put my name in the computer. And all of a sudden he goes, I gotta go, there's an emergency. And he put the car in drive and he floored it and he hightailed it out of there with his life. I'm talking, he hightailed it out of there. Okay, let me think, who else was there? Oh, then there's the Warren PD. Lori Manley took me down there, and this was after Kimberly Ann White, FBI Detroit. After I did what I did to her with the screenshots of her text messages threatening my life with the terrorist attack, she was going to bring the FBI and they were going to take my door down and everything else with her abuse of power to commit a terrorist attack. So, you know, from there, there were, and you know, in Carla Boggs, you got, you know, it was her in-laws at the Warren PD, and she's a recruited operative, and that show ain't over yet neither. It's just it's not really a priority at this minute. But they in a panic, they deleted that video from Facebook, the confronting Carla Boggs, like back in September 2021. Okay, they deleted it, but it's not deleted from YouTube, and it's going back. And that Max Garbrell, or whatever his name is, I'm probably not pronouncing it right, who I believe he's either the city manager or the mayor of Hamtramck, and he's wrapped up in whatever kind of fiasco and scandal they got going on there now. Okay, well, that's when he was targeting me and put his card on my door, and that was all part of that. They led into the Warren pigs trying to kidnap me 20 times, okay? So this is why I had to bring the two world courts and the United Nations and 39 nations against you, America. That's why, okay? And while you criminal terrorist, you kidnapping, human trafficking, murdering terrorist funders and enablers who think you've never kidnapped or trafficked anybody in your life, who think you've never committed an act of terrorism, well, okay, as far as I'm concerned, it's your fault. I am tortured with this electromagnetic weaponry that is targeting all organs in my body and damaging me again. And you know, I'm a master. Okay, I'm a master, and I have had to completely I mean, like I've faced death square in the face and have made the absolute impossible happen, and not only healed myself, because I don't do I don't my goal is never to heal myself, and my goal is never to be healthy. Okay, the healing, to be healed, pretty much means to restore yourself back to the state that you previously were, hopefully a whole state, which I was. And that's not good enough for me. See, if I have to go through all the pain, the trauma, and the suffering, and if I have, all the time, the money, the effort, and the pain that is invested into my healing, I'm not going to shortchange myself with just restoring myself back to the state that I was before these current crimes of terrorism against me. No, I'm going to, see, I'm an extremist, and I go way overboard with everything. Okay, and that's dangerous in a society that has been brainwashed and programmed to believe that too much of a good thing is bad for you. Okay, and it's because you believe that, and it's because you do everything in moderation, because too much of a good thing is good for you, is bad for you. Okay, that's why you can't do what I do. I completely transform, and I come out the other end literally with 10, 15, 20 years erased off of my face. I come back with energy that I didn't even have when I was 25 years old, okay? Because I invest every part of myself every day that it takes. And when you're up against this, when you're a captive like I am, and you're up against this terrorism, okay? I'm on the ground. I'm on the front line fighting a war, an all-out war against the United States military, the CIA, and the FBI, okay, who hides behind the invisible secret realms of DARPA, like fat, lazy 9-year-old kids playing deadly video games with direct energy weapons and drones. Okay, and then here's me, the poor, trafficked, captive, alone, unarmed, disabled, and defenseless, up against an entire military with state-of-the-art weaponry that is like 100 years above and beyond what the general public even knows exist. Okay, and with nothing but my mind, my